everything he do, they amplify it, right? So now, something happened in the quiet studio, which a lot of this stuff I'm not going to dig as deep as I want to, because there's some other stuff I would like to show y'all. The quiet studio situation is the springboard for the first 22 months. Now, what is the greatest sacrifice somebody can do? Self-sacrifice. Because there ain't nothing left after that. Self-sacrifice is the greatest sacrifice you can do. Now, in that interview, when he's talking about acting, he said they're trying to do the same thing to me with these movies that they're trying to do with my music. So before Quiet Studios, he dropped the album, Me Against the World. By the time Quiet Studio shooting is exposed, this is the biggest selling hip hop album and one of the biggest charting albums at the time. So he is being pressured somewhere, but he not saying. But what are they pressuring him to do? Well, they want him to sign these contracts that cause him to end up losing in the end because they don't pay. It's not that it's not in the contract for him to pay, is that the industry is designed that if you look like us, you are not allowed to hold on to the wealth, and that's for a reason too. When 2Pac discovered this, he started talking to his elders. Well, who was his elders? Go back and watch an interview with OG T. Rogers. I'm not going to give y'all I want y'all to do the research on what I'm saying, so I'm not going to give y'all all of the links. That Haitian Jack link with the 22 months and the 22 years is very important. So I put that in the comments. Now, the only way for me to come back is like Machiavelli. So he's trying to get out the imposters, what he say on his interview with Death Row East. He's trying to get the imposters out. Who is he talking about? He's talking about the Jewish Defense League. How do you know? Well, you know because everybody that benefited after the so-called assassination in Vegas that benefited. In law enforcement, when they teach the law enforcement agents about an investigation, they tell them to follow the money. Follow the money. If you follow the money, 9 times out of 10, you're going to walk right up to the door of the person responsible, even if they're not the trigger man. So now, when we follow the money of 2Pac and Maru Shakur, right after the Vegas incident, I'm not going to say it's an assassination. I'm going to call it an assassination attempt. But right after the Vegas incident, hey, Jillian, against Death Row filed a lawsuit against Finney because 2Pac hadn't been sufficiently paid for his contract. Machiavelli, the album, was the final product for his Death Row contract. You have Suge Knight saying that he mentioned something to, I think it was Jimmy Iovine. Excited, he was like, yes, don't nothing sell like a dead artist. Ain't nobody pay that no attention because everybody looking at Suge as suspect. But you got to look at it all. You can't neglect to look at what Suge telling you that 2Pac ain't dead. 2Pac not dead, son. Look at it. 2Pac not dead. You got this rip on here talking about who paid him to set 2Pac up and they ain't arrested him yet. You know why they ain't arrested? And then my man was like, because he snitched. He said, no, man, no, son, be smart. 2Pac ain't dead. If he did, they'd be arresting these guys for murder. I had Tanique Reviews had a good article from a newspaper that was investigating, and they went and talked to the lead investigator on the 2Pac case. And in the newspaper article, the lead investigator that's currently handling the 2Pac case, or that was originally on 2Pac's case, said we had a lot of tips. He's saying the most credible tips say that 2Pac is alive. Now, this is the officer that's the lead investigators, and big up to Tanique Reviews for revealing that information. And I'm gonna give y'all a reference of technique review, because when I listen to the brother, he don't come across as an inflammatory guesser. He comes across as an intelligent investigator and almost reporter-like in his investigations. And so he give out a lot of good information. So I'm gonna continue on with this. So if 2Pac is trying to come back like Machiavelli, right? Machiavelli is in exile. Machiavelli is sending the prince, which is the blueprint for a prince to rule. It's a blueprint for a prince to rule, right? Now he's doing everything righteous by the rules of war. The first thing that you discover once you know that war is an act of violence to further a political agenda. When you understand that, and before you get to the violence part, war is a philosophical, political idea that's pushed by war is pushed by people who want to dominate, control, or a resource that another people have. In this particular situation, because of the whole resurrection program of the ancients, everybody want to do things righteous at the close of the age, which is now. So if you want to do everything righteous, the first thing you have to understand is when you fighting an enemy that's an oppressor, he ain't gonna give up. No oppressor wants to surrender a stronghold unless the opposition is so overwhelming that he cannot maintain his grip. Now, world history have a whole lot of mythology and mysteries. Now, when you say mysteries, what are you talking about? My stories. They got history, we got mysteries. They have history, we have mysteries. And if you have a mystery, then you are a mystic. If you are a mystic, then you are in a different category. Now, so if 2Pac faked his death, there's a lot of numerology attached to that. What is all of these numbers? 7, 6, 13. These are the main numbers that 2Pac is using in his what you call his riding. That's how he like to say it. He said, y'all see me do all my riding, you know what I'm saying? Now y'all gonna see me come up on a whole nother level. And so we watched him do his riding. So what he had to do was what you call create a compelling spectacle. 48 laws of power. Everybody need a copy. Creating a compelling spectacle. There's no spectacle more compelling than a celebrity being assassinated. We can go back and look at the deaths of any celebrity and you can see the result while masses of people are in mourning. So we started digging into this and we started asking a series of questions. If 2Pac is alive, where is he? Did he go to Cuba? Nope. I'm gonna tell y'all now, Cuba is misdirection. It's too obvious. It's too obvious. I would pick Jamaica or Haiti or Belize before I would Cuba. But I don't think he went there either. Now, 2Pac told T. Rogers that before the second shooting, mind you, before Vegas, he said, I'm going out with a bang on my own land. What is he talking about? I'm going out with a bang on my own land, on my own territory. 2Pac is talking about before the false United States corporation assumed its authority under the orders of the papacy, Pope, and under the orders of the Crown of England to subjugate this land and these people because they were angry about the 13 colonies overthrowing the power of Britain. Britain's royal families are placed and held in power by the Holy Roman Church. The Pope is an imposter. When 2Pac said he's trying to get the imposters out, look at every royal crest of Europe and you'll see that there's black people on it. Not because the people in there descend from those people. It's because those are the real royal families that's on the crest. all royal families of African heritage or of original earth heritage, the dark-skinned woolly hair royal families around the world, from Dravidians to the Ainu, to the Qin Yuan group, who became emperors of China, to the Via kings of Europe, who was vicarious kings that were more wavy haired and kinky hair, because of admixtures of the Indus Valley, those straight-haired not Europeans, the straight-haired Dravidians that's dark-skinned straight hair. The blood had been used from all royal families of the world in order to clean up a genetic spill that took place in Babylon. So you needed the royal blood, or you would have a whole cross-section of humanity that would be denied the right to ascend, which would violate the free will universe code of righteousness. And so when we're looking at the 2Pac case, we're looking at something that's much bigger. Because if he tell you he's going out on his turf, on his land, in his territory, he is exactly correct that it's his territory. He exactly correct. Everything west of the Rocky Mountains on the western seaboard, all the way down into Mexico, into Peru, is his territory. Y'all don't know who he is, so you don't understand his moves. That's his blood right territory. He had first claim of right, everything west of the Rockies, including the Rockies, everything south of the Canadian border, going into Mexico, Texas, all the way down into the Central Americas. He is the prince of that territory. That's his land. And so if he told anybody that he was a deity of any sort, he was not misleading or bamboozling you. He is one of the resurrected at the last age, at the closing of the age. He is one of the masters that's been set in place, but they should have remembered. This is why they have all of those matriarchal symbols on all of the secret societies. You have the bee, a matriarchal symbol. You have the termite, a matriarchal symbol. You have the ant, a matriarchal symbol. You have a monarch butterfly, a matriarchal symbol. You have the lion, a matriarchal symbol. Especially with the lion being a matriarchal symbol, and the master to raise Hiram having to be a master with a lion's grip. That master would have to be a feminine lion, not a masculine lion. But the masculine lion will show us how a man governs his pride. And so you have pride in family, and you have pride in what's right. But not what's right. You have pride in family, pride in love, but not right and wrong. You don't put pride in right and wrong as a judgment. So you don't invest your pride in judgment, you invest your pride in justice. It's a difference. 2Pac, not dead, flat out. It was required for him to escape a massive onslaught of his enemies. Now, if he's going out like Machiavelli, then who would be Lorenzo Medici? Now, this would be the most critical part of understanding 2Pac, because he said, I'm not saying I'm going to change the world. Everybody heard him say it. He said, but I guarantee you, I sparked the brain that will change the world. And he gave a valiant attempt. The only problem is, I don't care how many masters the lodge raised, no man can raise Hiram. It has to be a woman. It has to be the divine feminine. It has to be a female that embody all of the characteristics of a mother, of a sister, and of a daughter in one person, who is doing her due diligence to improve herself as a Leo. And Hiram would be watching this to determine if the mission is a success. Now, Hiram would be watching this Leo woman, but this Leo woman would have to be an offspring of another woman who would be called a Mimi. Now, you got to go back to the Nation of Islam, and they tell you that the devils was cast out of Mimi and 7 of them, I believe it was, so that she can produce the most upright Caucasian woman in order to be a mother to the God. And so who's going to raise Hiram? And 2Pac is instrumental in this. Now, and very few people know Quincy Jones is very instrumental. Now, Quincy Jones said that the shooters of Biggie on one occasion wore a Nation of Islam suit. And he also said that there was a shooter dressed like he was in the Nation of Islam from that was shooting Tupac. Quincy Jones said it, not me. And the interviews are on YouTube and they're not hard to find. And so if Quincy's telling you that these dudes is dressed like Nation of Islam, spoiler alert, Rizza Islam was the Nation of Islam brother who was present front and center at the death of Nipsey Hussle. Do we see a strange 3-party coincidence here? I'm not going to accuse anybody anything. I'm just pointing out some anomalies. Now, why would you want to stop the rise of a potential Messiah? Well, it ain't they want to stop the Messiah from inciting the masses. They want to stop the Antichrist from taking control of the world. But they never taken the anti, which is not A-N-T-I, is A-N-T-E. Anti, meaning to precede or to come before. The word revelation means to reveal. So in the book of Revelations, in the first verse, the revelation of Isos Christos, which Theos gave to him to give to his servant to show and signify to his servant John. So now you got 3 people right there in the first verse. No, and you got the Theos. So that's you got 4 things taking place in the first verse. You got the Theos giving the Christos a message. And the Christos get his message to the faithful servant. The faithful servant then explains it to John. He explains it. So the revelation of the Jesus Christ that they give us in the book is the explanation of the one they call the Son of Man. Now, if you look at it, it say, and then appeared one like unto the Son of Man. This is not the Son of Man. It just looked like him. It's not the Son of Man. This just looked like him. This is the angel. So, one like unto the same Son of Man. So, I mean, a comparative analogy gave the revelation to John. Now, in this revelation, it talk about the rising of the false Christs or the ones that precede the Christ. There's one way. Every time somebody say they Jesus, it's one way the world know. And all of the secrets of society crash down on them. That's because they all been a man. They all been a man. The Christ is no man. That's the problem. The Christ is not a man. So now, when you see these Christ figures rise up as men with these long beards, looking like Caesar Borgia or Serapis, these are imposters, and they are there for a reason, because they have to mislead you, but they have to leave you an opportunity to discover the deception. So even 2Pac followed the rules according to the rules of war. It's better to win 1 victory by strategy than 1,000 by combat. And that 1 victory preserved this man's life until he can reach this one that he's been trying to find ever since day 1. It's no coincidence that he was in Flint sleeping on MC Breed couch when he didn't need to. It's no coincidence that he was sleeping on Jasmine Guy couch and he didn't need to. He's going around to all of these places, to all of these hoods. He's looking for somebody. Because he want to tell this person that he's looking for, we ain't got to wait no more. The time is up. We can execute this shit. But it was still a couple of signs that he had not read. Had he known that, he would have knew that no matter what happened, That 22 years he had to wait could not be changed. He could not escape the 22 years in the master's cycle. So he get this from Haitian Jack. But only the masters is going to be able to read what he's doing numerologically and militarily and politically and economically, because you can't go to war broke. You can't go to war broke. Now, if you go back to Abraham went to war about a lot. This is a lot. You got to remember that. Your physical form is a lot. It's a piece of land, right? That's why they got you signing contracts. A con mean against something. Like contradiction. That means to go against the diction, what's being said. You saying one thing, it means something. It's a contradiction. It's against it. So if they're giving you a contract, and tract is another term for land, a specific lot of land. So Abraham was going to war about Lot. When Abraham went to war about Lot, the king of peace, Melchizedek, sent him kings. That don't tell you how many. That's the reason for that. You have to go into Solomon to find out more. You have to go into the story of Abraham that's not recorded in your biblical Genesis to find out more. According to the story, as it is kept in the records in the Vatican, as it is kept records by the pyramid priests, the Melchizedek, the king of peace, sent 50 kings to assist Abraham in his war. Now, the Ethiopian word for king is Nagas, N-A-G-A-S. Now, we all been being called niggas, and we've been thinking that nigga mean black. Nigga is the word that we used to refer to under the Candace queens as the kings and the princes were niggas. They were rulers. They were ruler gods. The ruler gods get their power from creator gods. They get their position and their power from creator gods. The creator gods are the females. The ruler gods are the males. So when you look at the Pride of the Lions, you see exactly how it play out when the lion's pride of females go out on a hunt. They telepathic. There's no way a 3-foot lion in 10-foot thicket spread out 50, 60, 70 feet from each other will all zero in on the same bison, and they're not telepathically connected. They hived. Us as humans have that ability, but don't nobody want us to know it, because the hive comes from a group of strong women coming together to maintain and protect their children. So now, what do 2Pac say? He said, we haven't been able to have a family. He said we haven't been able to have fathers. He go down a whole list of grievances. Now, remember, 22 months of vexation of grievances is what you call the compelling spectacle. And he tell what all the grievances is. Now, why is he doing this? He's not the only one vexing grievances. There's an Ice Cube interview from 92, a year before Thug Life. This is a young Ice Cube, and this is a kid now. He's 23 years old when he's giving this interview at the oldest. And they asking him about the message in his music. And Dr. Dre said it in a studio interview that we just reporters. All of us in this industry, we reporting what we see. He said nobody give a reporter crap about the news he report, but we get crap about the music we make. Now, we got to go to 91. In 1991, all major record executives, when the hip-hop was starting to become mainstream, had a meeting. They needed to control hip-hop. They needed to control the flow of the cash and the currency, and they needed a means by which to do it. This was in '91, and it's not a secret. It's a big deal in the music industry among the artists because they all know about it, but they don't know how to work in opposition. And the only one who had a plan, a viable plan, because he had some powerful people to bounce ideas off of, like Mutulu Shakur and Sekou Odinga and Mumia Abu-Jamal, and he had Geronimo Pratt. All of those, them some powerful minds we talking about. These ain't no gang leaders that just rose up that's illiterate. These are men of mental, these giants that he's bouncing these ideas off of. Listen to T. Rogers. Listen to all of the OGs around him. Watch them women. You can't get information out of them. That's trained, well-trained women. They don't have loose lips. They don't have. Look at Yaki Mama. When she came out and she exposed the outlaws. Now, in this whole understanding of the 2Pac situation, if you don't understand military strategy, it looks like he's the enemy by using the deception. But he's not the enemy if he oppress, if he used deception, and here's why. Under the art of war, or under the rules of war, which is a little bit different. The rules of war is galactic, the art of war is earth-based. Under the rules of war, you are allowed, if you are oppressed, to overthrow an oppressor as a ruler god, to use any means available. You use the truth and the falsehood. You use the good and the bad. You use the deception and the exposure of the deception. Now, if you look at YouTube, you see a whole lot of 2Pac Alive channels and 2Pac's hoax channels and all of these channels, and they really got big last year. 22 years later, they really got big. But also 22 years later, the first appearance of Hiram was to go and do what they call an ancestral roll call for what's the brother name? Oh man, I can't remember his name. The one with the school, the one that was trying to open the school. Man, it'll come back to me. But anyway, so you were hearing there the ancestral roll call and in the after part. So some people got it on audio, video, whatever, but I don't know if they posted it or not, because I don't even know if they understand what it means to have a ancestral roll call, because that is the highest confirmation of your mission and your commission. And so, hey, what's that brother name? What, I'm gonna move past that. Anyway, so in that 22-year period, all of this exposure is coming. You had the Encini Station and your Tunique Reviews and your Lay Legends, and I can keep going. Out of all of them, the most investigative as a reporter style investigation to me is Tunique. Now, when you exposing the 2Pac situation, there's a couple things that you got to pay attention to that most people miss. Let's take Orlando Anderson. Look at that jersey he's wearing at the fight scene in Vegas. You got to look at the jersey. Now, also notice that there are no casino security breaking up the fight. The only people breaking up the fight is civilians.
On Las Vegas MGM Grand Hotel surveillance video. Death Row Records co-founder Marion Suge Knight is circled. Rap star 2Pac Shakur is nearby. Prosecutors say Knight is seen kicking Orlando Anderson, and that act is the alleged probation violation. The video is evidence in Knight's probation revocation hearing, proof the DA's office says Knight took part in the beating of Anderson last September.
2Pac Shakur and Suge Knight were kicking Orlando, who was on the ground at that time.
Deputy DA Bill Hodgman backed up the video evidence with testimony from the hotel's security manager, Annette Muchuka, who said she tried to stop the fight. The judge is not allowing Muchuka to appear on camera.
Tell us what you saw.
He was kicking him.
More than once?
Yes.
More than twice?
Yes.
More than 3 times?
Yes.
But when the beating victim, Orlando Anderson, took the stand, he testified Knight tried to stop the beating. Again, we cannot show you Anderson on the stand.
I seen him standing right there helping. He was about the only one.
He was helping you, is that correct?
Yes.
Las Vegas Metro Homicide.
There's no uniform security, and they have them in the casinos as well as civilian dress security. But you see none of the security that's in uniform coming to the fight. There's only one reason that happens in Vegas, and that's if you're doing a movie. If you're doing a movie, then only the people going to show up are the ones that you put there, your what you call your extras. Now, when you're looking at the footage, what are you really seeing? Ain't nobody whooping Orlando. Ain't nobody whooping Orlando. Everybody is strategically missing kicks, fake punches. That ain't no fight. That ain't no beat down. Anybody that been to the hood that's seen somebody get their ass whooped by the mob, by the crew, they put the boots to him, no, that wasn't no whooping. He get up with a scratch. We know that's not going to happen. In real time, in real life, that's not going to happen. And so as we go into deeper into, Umar Johnson. Umar Johnson was the one who got, I should say, Umar Johnson was the one who was working on the school, and it would have moved so fast it would have scared him and stopped calling it a school and called it anything else. But that's a whole nother topic. So, Portia, you put it on there too, Umar Johnson. Yeah. So from there, in that 22-year period, 2Pac is trying to reach out to somebody, a very, very specific individual. Now, you got to remember, he's coming back like Machiavelli. Machiavelli is in exile. If Machiavelli is in exile, he's reaching out for somebody. But there's only one person that he could be reaching out at this end, and that would be the one that the lodges call Hiram, who would be the son or the widow's son. They call her the widow's son because her husband was so-called assassinated by his brother and her brother. This is your Osirian resurrection story. This is not your Jesus of the Bible story. Osirian resurrection is the original resurrection story. And so this is why they have to keep playing a scenario of a crucified Savior before you. So when you go to these books, you can look in Kersey Graves' 16 Crucified Saviors. And at various times around the world, you have the same story, but you have a different character playing the story. That's the same resurrection. They have to keep this in your memory so you can figure it out. So they have to keep repeating the cycle. So they had to assassinate Martin because it wasn't time yet. Malcolm was a different purpose. Mega Evers. They had to neutralize those they're not allowed to execute, like Imam Abu Jamal, Larry Hoover, Jeff Ford, all of the ones in that Colorado Supermax. They're not allowed to kill them. All of those black leaders in prison right now, especially the ones in the Colorado Supermax. The ones in Colorado are there because they want to stifle their influence. Now, notice that the ones in Colorado, they want to stifle their influence. Now, Mutula Shakur should have been released. He's past his out date, and he doesn't have the prison record, but they don't want him on the streets because of his influence and his ability to think. No thinkers allowed. And so if 2Pac going to reach this person that he's reaching out for, then somebody would have to be able to see through the myth in order to get to what Tupac is doing. It ain't just Tupac. He ain't the only one. Gene Deal did a whole video called Biggie, Just Like Christ or something like that, where he compared the whole Biggie assassination to the Christ. Why would he do that 22 years later? Now, this is March 9th will be 22 years for Biggie. Last September was 22 years for Tupac. I'm going to tell you, I don't believe either one of them dead. Personally, me. I don't believe either one of them dead. I don't believe Eazy-E dead. I don't believe that Nipsey Hussle is dead. Evidence to support any of these deaths. Now, when I look at the evidence doesn't say what they're telling me. The evidence doesn't reveal what these people are telling us in the news and in these shows. What the evidence says clearly is this. There was a government conspiracy under the counterintelligence program to execute Tupac Amaru Shakur.